Growing up, I watched emergencies destroy families financially, ranging from medical bills, job losses, home losses, businesses shut down, sudden crises that forced people to sell their most valuable asset, wiping out years of hard work in just a matter of days. Reflecting back, and knowing what I know now, it's not a question of whether an emergency will happen, but when it will happen. And so in this video, I thought it would be useful to share with you how you can build your emergency fund and your resolve capital fund the right way and the best way. In this video, we are going to cover what is emergency fund and what is resolve capital fund, and when these two funds should be used, why you need these two funds more than anything else, where to keep your emergency fund, how much you should save for your emergency fund, and how much you should save for your resolve capital fund, where to start in order to build these two types of fund for yourself, how and why you must rebuild your resolve capital and your emergency fund after using it, and we will also cover common mistakes to avoid while using these two types of fund. Choosing to build these two types of fund will determine how well you cope and bounce back when life happens. If you're new here, my name is Lucy, a finance graduate and a qualified accountant. Let's get started. Section 1, understanding your emergency fund. The simplest definition of an emergency fund is that money you specifically set aside for unexpected life events that will require your financial attention. When life unpleasant eventualities suddenly knock at your door, whether it is a job loss, a major emergency medical bill, or a major house repair that can't wait, you want to make sure that you are in a position to pay for it. Reason number 1 why you need emergency fund is for your financial security and stress reduction. There are things in life that you will do simply for the sake of peace of mind. Unfortunately, having emergency fund is one of those. The reality of the impact and the need of having an emergency fund universally applies to every individual regardless of your country. According to a survey done by the Federal Reserve, shows that 36% of the total population in America would struggle to cover an expected expense of $400. Having just $2,000 in saving can provide a critical buffer, reduce the likelihood of financial distress, and enhance the overall well-being by 21%. The survey also showed that those having at least 3 to 6 months worth of expense saved linked to have additional 13% increase in financial well-being. This simple step can transform how households manage their finances and reduce the stress that comes with unexpected expenses. Imagine by having your emergency fund set up, you suddenly feel more in control of your financial life, you sleep better at night, and you are less worried about emergency. Your emergency fund is your quiet power when life gets chaotic. Reason number 2 why you need emergency fund is to avoid unnecessary debts and protect your asset. Growing up, I have seen people selling their personal belongings, including household assets, in order to settle emergency expenses when faced with life eventualities. That's why having an emergency fund is not just the smartest option, but it's the freedom, it's the peace, is the protection when life gets unpredictable. Although more people have savings in some form, many still lack enough savings to handle such kind of shock. We are going to address this in the next section, and that is how much you should save for your emergency fund and how much you should save as your resolve capital fund. Before I tell you how much to save in each fund, let me first explain the difference between emergency fund and your resolve capital fund. The major difference between emergency fund and resolve capital fund lies in the purpose each of them serve in your financial life and the amount each of them have. So for the Resolve Capital Fund, that is the money you set aside to cater for minor everyday expenses and those mid-month shortages that sneak up on you, like when you have your electricity token right now run out unexpectedly, your cooking gas gets depleted, or even having unexpected emergency guests. Born and raised in an African family, my mom used to have unexpected emergency guests who should go extra mile to ensure that they eat something before they leave. Taking a loan to meet these small expenses, mid-month expenses, is not a good decision. Number one, it creates a debt cycle. Month in, month out, you start depending on debt for everyday life. Before you know it, every month becomes a cycle of borrowing, paying back, borrowing again, and the cycle continues. Number two, it weakens your cash flow. Loan repayment become an additional expense that will eat into your income. So instead of easing your finances, they add up more pressure when repayment time comes. Don't get me wrong, taking loan is a good leverage only if the amount borrowed is invested in an income-generating asset or a business. The solution to this is simply financial planning. That's why your Resolve Capital Fund comes in. It bridges the gap before your salary arrives or before your next income source comes in. Instead of borrowing for these small shortages, you rely on your Resolve Capital Fund to keep life moving smoothly. On the other hand, an emergency fund is designed for major life disruption, situations where your income stops or becomes uncertain. This includes events like job loss, significant hospital bills, or any crisis where you genuinely don't know when your next income will come. Your income is no more, but your bills are never late. That's why your emergency fund exists, to protect you when your financial foundation is shaken. In simple terms, Resolve Capital Fund is the solution to minor shortages. Emergency fund is the solution to major financial setback. The point of emergency fund is if you lost all your sources of income or even partially stop receiving income from your routine sources of income that normally finance your living cost, do you have enough money saved up so that you can continue paying for your living cost when such life events happen? Research highlighted that 35.9% of Kenyans save for day-to-day needs. That is the Resolve Capital Fund, followed by 27.7% who saved for emergency. And the reverse is also true, that 72.7% of Kenyans do not set aside money to cater for sudden, unexpected, and unavoidable bills. Having an emergency fund puts you ahead of 72.7% of Kenyans and 59% of people living in America. And that is according to the Bankrate report that shows that 59% of Americans in the year 2025 still do not have enough savings to cater for unexpected $1,000 emergency expense. How much you should save as your emergency fund and as your Resolve Capital depends on two things. And number one is your total living cost. This is your essential needs. These cover your basic and unavoidable expenses such as food, rent, transport, and utilities. To calculate your total living cost, let's use this template whereby we are going to go to the category of essential needs. You're going to take 1 month, in which in this case your essential needs will include rent, food and groceries, phone, airtime, internet bills, cooking gas, water, things like that. So you're going to do a total of all of these, and this adds up to your total living cost. If you have more items that are essentially your fundamental needs, you're going to add them on this space. So here, for example, the total is 51,000